Some questions are not designed to seek information, they are designed to strip away your frame. They do not appear in brutal interrogations, they do not come with flashing warning signs. On the contrary, they arrive in the most polite attire. They carry a tone of intimacy, of respect, of cooperation, and that is precisely why they are lethal. Because the natural human reflex is to lower your guard in the face of kindness. The philosopher Machiavelli once observed a brutal reality. Most people do not collapse from a frontal assault on the battlefield. They collapse right at the negotiation table, in conversations that seem completely harmless. One misplaced answer, one rushed nod of agreement, and you have willingly signed away the contract of your own control. Stoic philosophy does not teach us to become paranoid cynics who suspect everyone. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "You will meet the ungrateful, the deceitful, and the selfish every single day. But your task is not to retreat into a fearful, isolated fortress. Your task is to build a mind sharp enough to distinguish a genuine connection from a psychological strike." Today, we will dissect the 5 most dangerous question structures in modern communication. In particular, the 5th question is the root master, this one, and the other 4 traps lose all power over you. Your mission is not to wage war. Your mission is to reclaim the pause, that space between a question asked and your decision to answer. That is where your power lives. Let's begin. Trap Hazon, retroactive consent. Picture this scenario. A colleague unilaterally alters the project timeline. A friend decides on the dinner location without consulting you. A relative promises your time to someone else on your behalf. Once the deed is done, they turn to you and ask, "You don't mind, right?" Or, "That's fine with you, isn't it?" Pause for a beat. Dissect precisely what just occurred. This is not a request for permission. The decision has been made. The action is complete. This question is, in reality, a notification wearing the clothes of a request. Its architecture is engineered to trap you in a fait accompli. If you reply, "No, I don't mind," they achieve their end without spending an ounce of bargaining leverage. But if you say, "Actually, I do mind," you are instantly cast as the difficult, petty, unreasonable party. The psychological trap is right here. They force you to pay a social tax just to enforce your own boundaries. And most people, desperate to keep the peace, absorb the violation, smile, and say, "It's fine." In Stoic philosophy, Epictetus emphasized, "Freedom begins the moment you understand what is within your control and what is not." When you say it's fine to something that deeply compromises you, you are voluntarily dismantling your own perimeter of control. The asker hasn't just taken your time or energy this once. They have just learned a fundamental lesson about you. They can bypass you first and collect your signature later. How to reclaim your frame? When confronted with this question, do not nod. Do not hide your boundaries behind artificial politeness. Respond with a calm, composed statement that re-establishes your boundary. "Next time, I expect you to consult me before making a decision." No anger, no lengthy explanations. You do not need to initiate a conflict. You simply refuse to sign a contract you never agreed to read. Trap #2, weaponized candor. There is a question that sounds profoundly respectful, yet serves as the preamble to a psychological strike. Can I be honest with you? Or can I give you some real feedback? By reflex, 99% of people will answer, "Of course, go ahead." Why? Because nobody wants to appear afraid of the truth. Nobody wants to be seen as fragile, incapable of handling feedback. But look at what follows immediately after. Is the next statement words of encouragement? Is it a constructive perspective? Or is it a cold bucket of water meant to plant seeds of doubt? I don't think you can pull this off. You really look like you're losing your edge lately. By forcing you to give them permission to be honest, they have equipped themselves with an armor of total immunity. If you show hurt or push back, they instantly turn your own promise against you. I was just being honest. Can you really not handle the truth? This is a dangerous bait and switch. Truth and personal opinion are two entirely different things. They are not offering truth. They are delivering a personal perspective wrapped in judgment, weaponizing the word honest to strip away your right to defend yourself. Seneca once wrote in his letters, "Candor without wisdom and respect is merely coarseness given permission." Someone who genuinely wants to help you grow does not need to set a trap by securing an advance pardon before criticizing you. How to reclaim your frame. Next time someone asks, "Can I be honest with you?" break their underlying premise by refusing to hand over a blank check of agreement. That depends entirely on what you intend to talk about. Or, "You can say whatever you like. I'll decide whether it holds any value." By doing this, you strip away their armor of fake honesty. They are forced to deliver their opinion without the immunity shield, protecting them from your counter-analysis. Trap #3, the decision dump. This question arrives under the guise of deep respect and a request for guidance. What would you do if you were me? It feels gratifying when someone turns to you for counsel. It strokes your ego. It makes you feel wise, essential, and valued. And so, you eagerly analyze the situation, map out solutions, and tell them precisely what path they ought to take. You have just stepped directly into an exquisitely crafted trap of responsibility transfer. Examine the mechanics underneath. Every significant decision carries the heavy weight of risk. Instead of bearing 100% of that weight on their own shoulders, the asker extracts a portion of that burden and places it squarely onto yours. If they follow your advice and succeed, they are the brilliant ones for taking action. But if they follow your advice and fail, you become the root cause. Even if they never utter it to your face, in their minds and in their conversations with others, your name becomes fused to that failure. I only ended up in this mess because I followed their advice. Machiavelli offered a classic warning to rulers: never assume responsibility for a decision where you possess zero control over the execution. You provide the advice, but they execute it. If they execute it poorly, the catastrophic outcome will still be pinned on your recommendation. Stoic philosophy teaches us the principle of amor fati, to embrace one's own fate and own every choice completely. You cannot live another person's life for them, and you certainly should not co-sign their risky endeavors. How to reclaim your frame. When someone asks, "What would you do if you were me?" carefully withdraw your hands from the trap of liability. Return the burden of choice to its rightful owner. I am not in your shoes, so I cannot make this choice for you. But which option are you currently leaning toward? Position yourself as an active listener, someone who asks clarifying questions to help them sharpen their own thinking, help them process, but never decide on their behalf. Trap #4, the source hunt. Imagine stepping into a confrontation. You hold verified information regarding a dishonest act, a lie, or a betrayal. You bring the issue into the light. Instead of addressing the substance of the matter, the other party looks you dead in the eye and asks, "Who told you that?" Or, "How did you find out about this?" If you are not alert, you get instantly dragged into an entirely new arena. You begin explaining, defending your source, or unintentionally revealing the name of the person who trusted you with the truth. What is the manipulation here? It is the classic technique of redirection. With 4 simple words, they successfully shift the focus away from their wrongdoing and aim it directly at your information pipeline. Suddenly, you are no longer the interrogator, you have become the accused. Worse still, if you surrender your source, 2 catastrophic failures occur simultaneously. You betray the trust of the ally who risked giving you the truth. You hand your manipulator a fresh target to eliminate, isolate, or punish. The next time something happens behind your back, no one will dare warn you. You effectively blind yourself. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Focus on the substance of the matter and do not be distracted by the surrounding noise. The core truth of the issue is what matters. How you discovered it is merely the outer shell they want to leverage to swap the premise." How to reclaim your frame. When cornered with "Who told you that?" firmly, hold the center of the conversation. Do not step onto their battlefield. Where the information came from is irrelevant. What matters is whether or not it is true. Let's address the actual issue. Protect your allies and force them to face the consequences of their own actions. Trap #5, the master question, the blank check. This is the root question, the gateway that allows all 4 previous traps to function seamlessly. It is simple, it is soft, and it carries the highest level of implicit threat. You trust me, right? Or don't you trust me? When this question echoes, every impulse in your body pressures you to answer, "Of course I trust you." Because saying no in that moment feels like a conviction. It feels as though you are accusing them of being a liar. It makes you feel like the villain ruining the relationship through your own paranoia. And the second that yes escapes your lips, the shackles are locked. By declaring your trust, you have handed them a blank check immunity. From that point forward, any future skepticism, any verification, or any counter-analysis on your part will be branded as betrayal. Why are you checking up on me? You said you trusted me. Are you doubting me now? What happened to your word? Look back at the previous 4 traps. Why do you accept a fait accompli? Because you already declared you trusted them. Why do you endure their harsh critique in silence? Because you trusted that they only have your best interests at heart. Why do you shoulder their responsibility? Because you trusted that they simply needed advice. Why do you surrender your source? Because you were squeezed by the demand for trust. This question systematically destroys the pause. It forces you to commit to a total psychological position long before the actual events unfold. Stoic philosophy maintains a deeply sober view of trust. Trust is not a slogan to be declared with your mouth. Trust is the accumulated compound interest of consistent actions over time. A genuinely trustworthy person will never demand that you issue an oath of confidence on demand. Only those who know their actions are insufficient require you to bind yourself with words. How to reclaim your frame. When someone demands a forced declaration of trust, refuse to give a binary answer. Respond with reality. I pay attention to what people do, not what they say. Or, trust isn't built on declarations, it's built on consistency over time. Short, clear, unshakable. An honorable person will respect that boundary. A manipulator will grow uncomfortable, knowing their blank check has just been revoked. Look at the whole picture. The purpose of this video is not to turn you into a bitter cynic who sees enemies everywhere. The core of Stoic philosophy is self-mastery, so that you can live a serene and meaningful life. The boundary between an easily manipulated person and someone as unshakable as a mountain does not lie in high IQ. It lies in the discipline of the pause. The pause, that single beat of silence, that 1 to 2 second window between their question and your answer. In that second or two, the desperate reflex to please others cools down. In that second or two, you recognize the hidden structure of the question. And in that second or two, you reclaim the power of choice, to answer or to remain silent. Which boundary to hold and what to refuse. Starting today, begin practicing that pause. When one of these 5 questions appears, do not answer on reflex. Let a single beat pass. Feel what that question is trying to extract from you. The person who controls the space between stimulus and response is the person who holds true power in every conversation. If this brought you a fresh perspective, leave a comment below saying, "I master my reaction." Let it serve as your own reminder on this path toward unshakable strength. Don't forget to subscribe to the Stoic Path and watch the next video displayed on your screen. It carries a message far more important than you imagine. See you on the next step of the journey.